Hello folks, it's been a while since I've done a video, probably about 2017 when we had the restaurant. So what I thought we'd do in this little introduction video is perhaps a little sort of factory tour to show you what we're doing at the moment. So let's do it. Okay, we might as well start in here. This is the pie room, also known as the high care room, because this is where we do all the sterile stuff. So all the cooked foods come through here, the hams, salamis, we cut cheeses in here, we do the ready meals in here, all that kind of stuff. So pastry we make on here, and of course it's all covered over because it's a Sunday that we're filming on, so there's no staff in here today, so it's all stowed away for the weekend. This room is where we do our mixes, our dough mixes. Big industrial machine, you only need one of those things, an 80 litre, big heavy thing, dangerous sort of thing. This is our sluice area, washing up area. And then over here, this is the changing room, because we have this here, because of course this is the high care room, we need to be sterile and clean before we touch anything in here. So the hams get sliced here, gammon hams, salamis, all that kind of good stuff, all the pre-cooked, ready-to-eat hams. Ready meal packaging machines are here, various blenders and food processors, another packing machine. And here we've got our pie base machine puncher. Boring stuff, so anyway, let's move through to the packing area. Right then, in here we actually sterilise our plastic jars and bottles in this UV machine here. This is another packing machine. This is where I take the pictures, some of the terrible pictures that you see online of the products, and then this is just all packing. So our little old vacuum packing machine here. Over here is where we weigh the products, put the dates on, and of course here we do all the labelling, back labelling, front labelling, and from there all the products go down this corridor into the side of the walk-in freezer. So from here, of course, everything gets frozen, and then from the other end, goods out, we process everything from there. So let's go and have a look in there. Right, so what the government also want us to do is have this machine that sterilises the air, and this is where we store all of our vacuum packs. It's getting a bit low in here anyway, but so a lot of this stuff has to go through two things. This machine, not entirely sure how that cleans the air, and UV. This is our date printing machine, expensive, but we have to have it, of course. And then here is the goods in freezer, or well, goods in as far as from the other end of the factory is. So from here it's taken down to -35 before we then move it to the -18 freezer, which is here. And then from here, well, in fact, I'll tell you about this. This we use once a year for about 3 to 6 months for making salamis. So it's a very slow drying process. We use this machine. So from here, we pack everything just here. So polystyrene boxes ready to go. Everything kept in here for the pickles, cheese, chocolate and so forth, and sauces, and then we pack everything out on here, and then everything goes out the back door. Okay, and we also have stickers, a whole room just for stickers. So there's a lot of money's worth of stickers in here. I think we're probably at about 50-50 now for the stuff that we print ourselves and the stuff that we buy, and eventually I'm going to phase out all of the pre-printed stuff, and we're just going to have our own printed, in-house printed back labels and front labels. And then through here, everything goes down to the end, downstairs in the lift, and out to Shunfeng Express at 6 o'clock every night actually. Okay, and from the pie room, this is the butchery side, so this is the divide between Highcare and Raw. So here we have the bowl chopper, which we use to emulsify meats for basically your German sausages and some of the reformed hams and so forth. Here we've got our very small mincer, which we use for very small batches of sausages. And over here we have our large mincer, which we use for much bigger batches. And then over here we have our sausage mixing machine, which we of course use for slightly larger batches. Yeah, if it's only a couple of kilos, you only need to use your hands, but with 50, 100 kilos, you need a machine. Right then, over here we have our bandsaw, which is primarily used for some of the frozen meats. We also use it for things like leg of lamb chops, cut frozen, so it's nice and neat and uniform. Yeah, and then over here, sausage stuffing machine. We do have a smaller one here, which we use for the very small batches. I think that will hold 7 kilos, whereas this one will hold sort of more like 30, 40. And then over here we have our sausage lengthening machine, which puts a string between each sausage to the correct length, so we know exactly how much every single sausage weighs before we pack it. But yeah, that'll do for that, I think. Right, and in here, which probably should have started here because this is the goods in area. This is where everything starts. So from this double door, in comes all of our fresh produce and our frozen meats, etc. So in this freezer, which we've had since our last factory, actually, we brought it here. This holds all of our whole primals of meat and so forth. And then this side is our dry store. My favourite room is the smells that are in here. So in here we've got all of our spices and so forth, herbs and whatnot, vinegars and all kinds of good stuff. And then of course here, this side, we have our flour, sugars and salts and rice, all that kind of good stuff, breadcrumb and general stuff. And then over here, our sausage casings, our dried sausage casings. Of course, our other ones are kept in the fridge because they're, lamb, pork and beef. Powders for curing, price powder 1 and 2, which is what you need for hams and sausages, generally speaking. Let's go and have a look at the smoke room. That'll be about the last thing we need to do, I think. Right, this is our kitchen, very basic fryer. We're now on an electric fryer and electric hobs. It's where we do all the pie mixes. So the steak and Guinness all gets boiled down here. We do also use a lot of sous vide. We sous vide quite a lot of stuff here. There's our oven. And in here, this is our smoke room. Very, very large smoker. I tend to save up quite a few products to do all in one day because turning this thing on costs a lot of money. So yeah. Okay, this is our curing room. This fridge, this is the only one we need really at the moment because we do everything weekly. So here we've just got a little bit of bacon on cure. That just needs turning once a day. This is a dry cure, turning once a day for about a week before we can then process it. And then here, well, I think we've just got like one pork leg in there just to do some obscure ham that I forgot about. So that's a wet cure. That will be done in about 10 to 14 days. Right, yeah, that's it. So I'm going back to the office for a cup of tea now. Thank you very much. Right, so what we're going to try and do in future is make some time to actually do some videos that showcase our foods because they're so convenient now. Of course, half of them are boil in the bag, half of them are just reheat. So what we're going to try and do is showcase like how you can have some of your fillers, which would be mashed potato, chips, pasta, things like that, with whatever filler, with whatever dish you want, like beef bourguignon, through to all the Indian curries and so forth, and we're going to try and make it all make sense. So thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next edition of The Pie Guy.